Hi everyone. This is a video introduction for the fourth article in my series on moving from self-abandonment to self-abundance. The first three articles and videos focused on how we can stop self-abandoning and show up for ourselves mentally, socially, and physically. Today, we are going to focus on the emotional self-abandonment and moving to emotional self-abundance. In my related article, I explore the difference between an emotion, which is a physical reaction that has been measured and lasts 90 seconds, and a feeling, which occurs as we experience the physical reaction, and we layer that with our interpretations and assumptions that come from our past experiences, our cultures, and our habits. But how many of us have a 90-second episode of anger or betrayal? When we emotionally self-abandon, we get lost in the story that we layer onto the emotion. We don't stop to question the veracity or accuracy of the story. But study after study shows that we are not very good at accurately guessing or predicting other people's emotional states, much less the thoughts and feelings behind their behaviors. But despite this, we continue to invest in these stories, and these stories direct our thoughts, feelings, and actions. As I have done with the other areas, I'd like to share a personal story that shows that we all emotionally self-abandon, but also demonstrates that change is possible. And with work and practice, we can learn to show up for ourselves. I'll use my son again in this example. So for those of you who don't have children, bear with me. The example is relevant in general, not specific to parent-child relationships. So recently, I showed up to pick my son up from his half-sister's house, and he had a tantrum. He refused to leave, and he clearly indicated that he did not care that he caused me sadness because he did not want to come home. Logically, I knew that as a 3-year-old, he didn't want to leave a place where he was the undivided center of attention and where he got to eat French fries all day. I also realized that he doesn't yet have a clear sense of the impact of his words on other people. But after the 90-second physical reaction, the story I created was around how I was not appreciated because I invalidated my feelings. Megan, you know the whys behind his behavior, so you shouldn't feel this way. I wasn't able to immediately make the critical connections to process the feelings. I felt angry for a few days, and it didn't show up directly. It came out as impatience with him, an irrational anger at dropping something on the floor, an irritation with noise. But once I held space for my feelings and I recognized that rather than unappreciated, what I really was scared. I was able to trace that anxiety back to the point that I realized that one of my biggest fears is waking up after a lifetime to find myself utterly alone. I was scared that one day he would choose someone else instead of me. And I don't mean that in terms of normal growth. Of course, he will choose a partner and a job and a house or apartment. But those things are in addition to a strong relationship with me, not instead of a relationship with me. And that huge, heavy fear is mine to carry. But until I practice emotional self-abundance and sit with the fear and get curious about it, my poor son will continue to carry it because it will continue to show up as impatience and irritation with him. Processing the emotions has helped me stop being impatient and start actively managing my fear. So while this example is with a 3-year-old, it demonstrates a principle that applies to all relationships where you have an unrecognized fear that is unconsciously directing your behavior and causing you to self-abandon. So if you want to learn to recognize your emotional reactions and how to respond rather than react, I encourage you to visit my webpage at www.meganwarrencoaching.com to read the full article or schedule a free chemistry call to see how we might work together and get you where you want to be. Thank you very much for listening. Happy reading. Be well.